Hey everyone, I wanted to come on today. I know that it's Saturday, everybody's probably out doing shopping, but God put this message on my heart, and you know that from watching previous videos, if I have something come in that's really powerful and that I need to share, I don't care what time of day it is. Hello, Trish, I see you. I don't care if it's the weekend, I need to get this out. And so this is really something that's come across my heart, and I just wrote a couple notes down, and here we are. So welcome. Let me know that you're here. This is going to be a topic around security and what we typically think of whenever we think of, leaving a job and, oh, like I'm going to have my security in this pharmacy job and what that looks like. And I'm going to kind of debunk a lot of things that are typically the way that we're programmed to believe. So, whenever I graduated pharmacy school, I knew that I wanted to do something different. And I share this story because it does tie into the security and everything that we're going to be talking about today. So, I knew that, pharmacists, we cap off at a certain salary, right? Maybe you make, I don't even know what the most somebody can make, I guess, depending on if you're a pharmacist, lawyer, or whatever you're doing, maybe you can make up to $200,000 or whatever that is. So we kind of cap off at 120, maybe 150,000 at most. So whenever you're thinking about, okay, what is the cost of me to stay secure in this job that maybe you cap out at 150 grand? I want you to think about the fact that you can go way beyond that. And most people don't realize that this is possible. And I'm here to tell you it is possible for you. That is one of the reasons why I share so openly about everything that I've been through, going from homeless to making $1 million in my business. There is a reason why you're watching this video, why you're in this group. And I invite you to really lean into what I'm saying here. So much of the time, we think that our security lies in that job, right? That 9 to 5 job, or the 12-hour shifts that we're working at Walgreens or Rite Aid or CVS or whatever it is. But I'm here to tell you that is not true security. There was something in the news recently about how CVS closed down 300 stores. And so we can't rely on those external things to give us the feeling of security and safety. And so many times I talk to so many women every week, and they're like, I'm burnt out. I am, my health is crumbling. And so what is it costing you to not take that leap of faith and pursue that dream that you have? Whether it's to write a play or whether it's to become a successful health coach, everything is always going to cost you something because maybe you've never done it before. And so, what I want you to lean into is kind of getting out of this box that I can only get security through a job or through CVS, or maybe you're doing something else on the side. I want you to kind of stretch your boundary of what's possible for you, and maybe even jotting down some notes as I'm talking here to get us out of that rigid box that all of us have been programmed to believe that I can only do this, right? We kind of stay in our own lane. We go to college, we, become pharmacists, or, whatever your degree was. I know we have some other professions in here as well. And you kind of only see a couple different routes, right? It's like retail, hospital, you know, um, fellowship, whatever it is. But what if I were to tell you that there's so much beyond just that? And when you allow yourself to actually realize, okay, I don't have to tie my security up in that thing, that I can actually go way beyond $150,000, 120,000, whatever you're making now, and making the income and impact that you crave, it is a game changer. And so I want you to lean into that. What is your dream? What is it that you have always wanted to do, but you never really spoke it out loud? And I want to hear in the chat here, if you're watching the replay, what is that thing that you've always wanted to do, but then you get to that threshold where it's like, oh no, it's not safe, right? And your body kind of shuts down and goes into contraction mode, and oh, it's not safe, and I have to stay in my box. The metaphorical box of what society tells us is, okay for us to do. Because the route of entrepreneurship is not always easy. It's not guaranteed. But I will tell you this, if you stay stuck in that job that's burning you out, that's keeping you small, that's not allowing God to use your light, to use your magic and your medicine for people, then that's a bigger cost than staying at that job, right? So thinking about, things are always going to cost us something, no matter what it is. If it's going to be you staying at that job, maybe it's going to cost you your health or time with your family. Or maybe it's going to be that you stay in this soul sucking job where there's constantly toxicity and you're feeling so drained at the end of the day because you don't get actual breaks. That was always something that really pissed me off about pharmacy, because I was a retail pharmacist too. I get it. I worked for Rite Aid back in 2019 or 2018, 2019. And I always hated the fact that I could never actually have time to myself, that I couldn't nourish my body, that I had to just shovel food down my throat because it was the thing that I was expected to do. And if you're watching this with me, give me some hearts if you're a rebel, if you're like, yeah, I really don't want to be doing this anymore. And that's okay. There's a lot that comes up whenever we go to think about having our own business or doing something different. It could be a lot of the beliefs from your parents, like, oh, well, you went to pharmacy school and now you're all of a sudden going to switch and do something different. So all of those beliefs, all of that resistance is going to come up. And that's where I come in to really help you shift and be like, oh, okay, here's this belief, here's this old trauma, and the reason why my body's responding to this, taking that leap, because your body feels like it's not safe. And if we've been programmed with these unconscious beliefs around money and safety and security, it's going to be like walking through mud. It's going to feel really difficult to pursue your dream, but it doesn't have to be. And so when you start to realize and become aware of all these things and how you've maybe been kind of keeping yourself in this one track lane of what's possible for your life, in reality, here's what I will tell you. There are infinite possibilities for you to welcome in money and welcome in abundance. I've created probably 15 different revenue streams in my business. It's possible for you. It's you stepping past that terror barrier that is keeping you stuck, keeping you small, keeping you from shining your light out in the world because of all of these things, right? The beliefs that, what are these people going to say if I, even coworkers, like, what are my coworkers going to say if I go step out and do this? Or what will my parents say, that I wasted all this money going to pharmacy school? Whatever that story is for you, can you be courageous enough to bust through that ceiling, that the limits that you place on yourself? And we all do it. We all have an income ceiling, or, the impact that we can have, and it's not true. And so I want you to really feel into what is possible for 2022 for me. What is it that is really calling to my heart right now? What is it that I want to imbue on the world? Maybe it's for you, whatever channel that is. It could be like an e-course. It could be, I really want to start my own business. I want to, give back to a college. I did that this year, and really, it was a dream, because I was, that young girl. I was 24 and, wanted to leave my dad's pharmacy, wanted to do something different. I've always kind of been independent in a way, and knowing that I wanted to do something to make a bigger impact on the world. And now I'm able to give back to those people. So write down, if you're watching with me, if you're watching on the replay, what would be just like beyond your wildest dream, instead of kind of staying in this box of safety, security, this is all I'm capable of. What would it feel like to actually just jump off the cliff and to just be like, I'm held, I am safe? Because I'll just tell you quickly, when I left my job at Rite Aid in 2019, I was like, I'm done. I am never going back to retail pharmacy. I burned the boats. I decided this is something that I am never going back to, because it was so toxic. It almost like, it felt like abuse in a way, because it was denying me of the right to eat when I wanted to eat. to be able to leave and go get some fresh air. I couldn't do that. And so I felt so restricted. But when I made that decision and I hired a coach, I hired two coaches that year and spent 50 grand to get that freedom, to have that experience of actually shining my fucking light out in the world and not being afraid, not playing small and being like, oh my God, but I can't, and I'm not ready, and I don't have enough certifications. If that's you, I am telling you, you have to wake up to your brilliance. This is why you're watching this video, because you're never going to feel ready. You have to just leap. You have to do the thing, like rip the band-aid off, hire that coach, do whatever you have to do, because it's such a different experience when you actually work for yourself, when you can take care of yourself and get massages and get the healthy foods that you want, that are going to help you gain more energy to go serve more people. Think about that. Think about the freedom that is available to you when you jump over that threshold of fear. We all have it, right? Like, oh, that doesn't feel safe to me, so I'm just gonna, nope, I'm gonna back away and stay back here in my comfort zone. No one ever grew from being in their comfort zone, I will tell you that. And so when I quit my job back in 2019, I invested all that money. I hired a transformation coach, a business coach, and I made $80,000 in 8 months, I think it was. And then after that, I did a lot of deeper transformation work, and I went to $200,000. And it's going to keep growing, but you have to be consistent and you have to have the balls to leap. And the people that do, like if you watch a lot of the people, who are successful, they've hired coaches, they've invested in themselves. And that's where you break through these barriers, these blocks of like, well, I can't do that. That's okay for them to do, but I'm sitting over here and I'll just watch, and that's okay. Maybe you've done that your whole life, but I'm here to tell you, if you're continuing to watch this video with me, I want to nudge you and maybe push you off the cliff to let you know it's okay, and that your safety is not in that job. Your safety comes from within and from your connection with God, source, spirit. That is where my power comes from. I just open my channel and he's like, okay, this is what I want you to say. This is the message. And here we are together today. And you can do the same thing. When you get out of that fear mode and that contraction, or feeling like you have to just go with what everybody else wants for your life, so much opens up for you. You're able to have that freedom and the security within yourself and with God, because that's really where the truth lies for you. And, if you're spiritual or believe in something else, then, you can insert whatever belief you have, God, source, spirit, creator. But I'm here today to almost wake you up. And I want you to know, I never say anything to diminish you or to call you out or break you down. I do it to call you up into your highest expression of why the fuck you were put here. So I want to not only inspire you to action, but have you really reflect on, where are you tolerating certain things in your life right now? Things that maybe your old self was okay with, but now for 2022, we're shaking the roof off. We're ready, right? Oh, I see Danielle here. Awesome. It's funny because it says like a couple people are on, but I can't see everybody that's on. So let me know that you're here watching with me. And like I said, I typically don't work on weekends, but it was just like there, and I just needed to share this because I see it all the time. And the inner work is so, I think, underrated or underplayed, but I'm here to bring that. That's my life purpose, to bring this more to the forefront, because that is truly what unlocks and unleashes that next version of you. It's not the strategy. Like strategy, you could Google that. With the inner transformation work, it's so personal. It's so much of just experiencing it, right? You can't go through and read a book and be like, oh, that's what awakening is. Oh, okay, that's how I do da 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 da. No, it's truly you going through these shifts. And this shit isn't comfortable. I will tell you, it is not. I've been through so many different shifts. I'm continuing to grow, to transform. And a lot of these patterns that we get stuck in, with people pleasing or staying small or not voicing our truth because we're afraid someone's going to get mad at us, or not being able to express the fullness of who you are, that's only going to stifle you and keep you in that box. And so we're busting that fucking box open this year. Whoever's ready to come with me. If you're ready to come and bust that bitch open, let me know. Hopefully you guys have AirPods on so your kids can't hear. I should put that in the in the notes here. Make sure that you watch with headphones on. But really, I just felt called today to call you up. And even if you don't feel ready, and all of these little excuses like, oh, but like, look what that person's doing. And, I could never get there, or I need another certification, or I need this, or I need that. Tune into yourself. Oftentimes we don't trust our own intuition. We don't trust those little nudges. Your intuition speaks through whispers. Fear is very loud. It's like, oh, who do you think you are? Ah! When you quiet your mind and you get into meditation, and honestly, this is how I get my downloads, you just really allow yourself to tap into something even greater than the fear. It's your power. It's your voice, your authentic voice that is going to lead you and have little breadcrumbs along the way that's going to say, hey, why don't you reach out to that person? Why don't you do this? Why don't you take that action step? And that is walking in faith versus being in fear, being contracted and being like, oh, I can't do it. Yes, you can. I am here, and I know I'm being cheerleaderly right now, but I know that every single person watching this video, you have a purpose. You wouldn't be in this group. You wouldn't be watching this video if it wasn't in your heart to make a big impact, even more so than the income, the impact on people's lives. Think about what it's costing you to not step out and say what you have to say, or, hire that person, to help you break through that next level. Imagine how much freedom is outside the box, right? When you think of just kind of staying in your lane and keeping safe, having the security, imagine what's available to you when you open yourself up, when you open your arms and you receive, when you allow yourself to relax, to feel safe and grounded in your body, and to receive. You receive even more. And when you step out in faith, God will continue to shower you with blessings. I promise you that. And so that is my challenge to you, to really think about, okay, where am I putting myself in this box of like, oh, I can only be this way, or I can only express myself this way because I was never allowed to. And I get it. I totally get it. I've gone through this journey for the past 10 years of really, releasing a lot of these bullshit beliefs and these blocks around you can't brag, and oh, it's lonely at the top, and oh, if I shine too brightly, people are going to leave me, and all of those things, right? We have, I think the top three things that I hear are the unworthiness patterns, like people are afraid to charge what they're worth, or they feel like they sabotage enrollment calls. Another thing is the fear of being left, the fear of being alone and being kicked out of the tribe, right? That tribal kind of energy. Whenever we're rising, we don't want to get kicked out of the tribe. So part of our subconscious is saying, oh no, you have to keep down here where it's safe because there's more people, right? And so sometimes we outgrow groups, we outgrow jobs, but we stay because we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to step out and be alone. But you're not alone. You're just going to attract a new tribe of people that are ready to cheer you on and to see you rise. I'm trying to think of what the third one is. So unworthiness. Oh, here it is. It's the lack of trusting, feeling like we can't trust ourselves or others. And so the control comes in, and trust me, I can relate to all three of these. These are all trauma responses, and I continuously have to work on it and catch myself in every relationship because it's something that bleeds through your whole life. But if you're not aware of these things, if you're not aware of how these patterns are bleeding through your business, it's very easy to beat yourself up, to say, what's wrong with me? And then, oh, I see some hearts. Yay. Thank you for joining. It's really easy to go into that kind of self-sabotage, beating yourself up. I've done that too. Like, what's wrong with me? Why is this not working? And so when you're in those control patterns and you're not trusting, just look at the thoughts that are underneath some of these things for you, even jotting that down. We do a lot of this work in my Elevate membership, but I'm going to give you some snippets here that you can use, that you can take and implement right away. So behind these patterns, if you can resonate with the unworthiness, the not trusting, and the fear of being left, what is that for you? Like, where did that come from? What thread is that attaching to from a past timeline that you had? Maybe somebody that you had a falling out with, or like a friend that you lost, or maybe you lost money. I had a guy back in May, those of you who have been following me, you know, who, like, I had this story, like, he ripped me off, and he did, but I had to go and forgive him. A lot of these things that I'm talking about, it's energy that is not allowing you to move forward. And so when you release, when you allow yourself to go through releasing and forgiving even the people who you have so much resistance and forgiving, that's where the freedom comes in. That's where you get that momentum to move forward without this resistance, without these beliefs. I kind of see it as like fog that's able to just be kind of lifted, and for you to just see clearly, like, oh, this is the road for me. This is the path. And that's when you can start to hear God's voice saying, oh, this is what you should do. And why don't you reach out to that person? And oh, that would be a good step. And that's where all of this kind of fits in together. So I want to just really honor you for wherever you are along your business journey. If you're just starting, if you're 2 years in, if you're 10 years in, however far along you are, we always need kind of that reminder to expand our horizon even more, to not get yourself stuck in this box of relying on security in all of the things that are external to you, knowing that you can ground in, connect with source, and get those answers. That's where the power comes from. And so that's going to lead you down the path of your highest destiny. But you have to be willing to, number one, listen, and two, take the inspired action, because you're getting messages all the time. Maybe you're praying for, like, hey, God, send me a sign for what I should do next in my business. You're getting the signs, but you have to be aware that they're there. Maybe it comes through a person. Maybe it's coming through angel number sequences. I see 222 all the time, and I'm like, oh, it's 2022. Yes, 222. I'm ready for that. You have to pay attention to the way that your inner prayer is being expressed in the external world, and it's going to come to you. You just have to be open to it. So I want you to start paying attention to what are those things that are happening in your environment that are clues for you, where your intuition is kind of like, oh yeah, I have to pay attention to that. And for me, I'm clairsentient, so I feel things in my body. Some people just have a knowing, claircognizance. Some people have clairaudience. They hear things, or clairvoyance. Maybe you see things. I kind of receive it in all different ways, but tune in. What feels good for you? What is a yes to you? Like, if you have a decision to make in your business, it could be like, should I hire this person? Should I do that program? Should I do that podcast? Tune into yourself. A lot of us feel it in our solar plexus, which is right here under your breastbone. And just tune in and just say, like, okay, what does it feel expansive to me? That's probably a yes. Does it feel tight? That's probably a no. And just start to tune into your body, to what feels good to you. And the more you do that, and this is what we're going to be doing in Release and Rise, really getting to know yourself so intimately that you never have to question yourself, that you are so tied to your intuition that your marketing just flows through you. Just like, how I'm channeling right now, it doesn't have to be so difficult. It's allowed to be easy, and it's your time to shine. And so I could talk about this all day, but just leaving you with that tidbit of just starting to feel into your body. And so many of us are disconnected, and we kind of numb out through different things like Netflix or smoking, drinking, being in codependent relationships, keeping busy. But what I challenge you to do is to just tune in. Even today, for 5 minutes, just sit quietly and just tune in. Like, what is my next action step? Maybe even pray for that and see what drops in for you. And if you're watching the replay, let me know. Like, if something shows up for you and you were like, wow, I prayed for, a new client or something and it came in for me through an unexpected source. Whatever that is for you, I want to hear your wins. I want to hear your challenges. I'm here to support you. I love you. I hope you have a great Saturday, and thank you for being here with me today.